Hi, everybody. Welcome to Shadow Valley. Hey, everybody. My name is Brennan,
You got Gabe here.
and today we'd like to welcome Lucas to the podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
So today is actually pretty interesting because we want to so we're still working on our big project right now, but again, we want to at least put some content out there for you guys while we're working on this. That way, it doesn't seem like we're neglecting anybody. But something that's interesting and we really want to talk about, especially with what's been going on recently, is the fact that, there's a lot of people who go missing. There's quite a bit of there's a lot of stories, and it's always sad when you go and you turn on the news and they talk about another hiker who's gone missing in the forest, or you have the scout who strayed too far away from his troop and ended up getting lost. And so that's kind of going to be what we're talking about today. And our guest for today, Lucas, actually has some information on an interesting case of some people who ended up going missing. And when they were found, there was some really interesting information with that.
Yeah, some really, really strange things that I would say you can't really explain.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, let's just dive right into it. So this is called like the Dyatlov Pass Incident. And I think I'm saying that right. It's supposed to be in Russian, so I don't speak that, but...
So,
You're telling me you don't speak Russian?
Yeah, no, I don't really dabble. But so a group of about 9 hikers, they were going up into the Russian wilderness to climb, let's see what it is, Mount Orterton. And so all these guys were university students. All of them had been previous hikers before, and they were really accustomed, and they had a lot of tough skin for the wilderness, right?
Was it a bunch of like guys, girls?
Yeah, so it was
mix?
guys and girls.
Okay.
So a little bit of both. And all 9 of them went missing, right? And so there was a search party for them. And the weird part about this entire case is just how they all kind of appeared. And so let me pull up the number exactly. I believe 6 of them died of hypothermia. And
So by the time they were all found, were any of them alive?
no,
Or did
they
all 9
were
die?
all dead for a while. It took like 3 months to find all of them.
Oh, wow.
So
crazy.
yeah, it's pretty messed up.
And when they did, like from what I saw, it was some pretty extreme stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just so strange. It doesn't really make sense. So they were found about 6 miles away from where they were supposed to be, and some of them were found in a forest miles away from where their last tent was. So it's just like, who's it running out in the middle of the night,
Right.
And one of the weirdest things is they saw where they set up camp. So they all set up camp, and in the middle of the night, this is most likely what happened. So one of the hikers had cut out the interior side of the tent with like a knife to like escape from the inside of the tent, which is, you could always just walk out the front door.
Right.
You could always
Yeah, just unzip it, walk out.
Right. Like, why are you cutting that out and trying to escape?
Right.
You know?
And this was a big old tent, right? And
Yeah,
this
no.
had all 9 of them in there, right?
Yeah, I believe it had all 9 of them in there.
Okay, so let me so just to follow chain of events. So these 9 students, they decide to go up to this mountain, whatever it's called, and they start hiking. And so how many days were they out there when we assume this happened, that they cut out the tent? Do we know?
Yeah, I think it was 4 days.
Okay, so or was the full 4 days? Is that like, do we know how long they were wanting to go up there?
No. So the minute they left was when the first day started. So they had moved up the mountain for 4 days.
Right. But how long was their trip supposed to be? Like a week, 2 weeks, 9 days?
I don't know if I have that right now.
Okay.
I could probably like keep an eye out.
I'm just curious. But okay, so 4 days in,
Right.
shit hits the fan pretty much.
Yeah.
Or was it prior to this?
So it was most likely prior. And it was 10 students at first, and then one about halfway up said, "Hey, I'm gonna dip out of here. I don't think I could do this." I think they had like a sprained ankle or something. So they left, and that was the last person to talk to him.
Right.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
so one of the students actually made it out
Yeah.
prior to this.
But he doesn't know what happened because he was there. Like he dipped before the whole like big event happened.
Yeah,
Interesting.
He got out of there. And
Ooh, I'm already like starting to form a bunch of ideas about this whole situation.
It's
Right.
really it gets really weird. Just like hold the fucking phone for a minute. It gets really weird.
And so, like I was saying earlier, it was 6 of them that died from hypothermia. And they had cut their way out of the tent, and they didn't have any winter clothes on. So they didn't have like things like ski shoes. They didn't have jackets. They were pretty much just wearing like what you would wear to bed, which is also pretty strange because you're in the middle of a mountain.
Well,
Right.
and why wouldn't you bring that kind of stuff if you're going hiking?
It's
Right.
It's like you're out of there in a rush. Like
Yeah.
something is like
Oh,
going pretty
so they
bad.
didn't. They had the stuff, but they didn't put it on.
Yeah.
And they're like Russia's hella cold.
Yeah.
And so the fact
Yeah,
that they
dude.
just go out there in like their sleeping clothes, like I don't know about you guys, but I don't really dress like even when I go winter camping, I don't really bundle up in the same coat like that I do when I go outside. Like when I'm in my sleeping bag, like you still dress warm, but you don't need to dress so extreme. You know what I'm talking
Dude,
about?
well, yeah, I feel like. Well, I'm kind of different though. Well, that makes me sound like a loser. Like I'm different than you guys.
Pick me.
But no,
Just kidding.
no, I do it a little different. Where
Yeah.
I feel like the less clothes I have on, the warmer I am for
Yeah.
some reason. Because like and this is weird. I don't know if this is correct, but when
It's
They
like that
say,
direct
like-
contact.
right, exactly, when they say it's like if you're in a situation where you're with 2 people and you need to stay warm, they say you undress completely,
Right.
and that'll help you stay warmer. And so I don't know why, but I feel like that in my head is like, oh, I need to like go down to my boxers.
Yeah.
And so like even if it's cold outside, I
Yeah.
go down to my boxers and I just in my sleeping bag, and I'm always warm. I don't know, but maybe I haven't camped in very cold environments just yet. Cold enough, I guess.
Fair enough. We haven't well, I don't know. It gets pretty cold here.
I mean,
Yeah, it
like we
definitely
went
does.
scout camping.
like whenever I was doing like training and things like that, like
yeah.
we would still like really bundle up, and you would just be sweating, but at the same time you'd be freezing.
Right.
So it's like it's kind of like weird. It's like a mixed bag almost.
Fair
Hmm,
enough.
Interesting.
Anyways, I digress.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
No worries. So some of the weird things. You heard what I was saying about 6 of them had died from hypothermia, right?
Right.
So this is the weird part. 2 of them had fractured skulls. 2 of them had major chest fractures, and one hiker was missing her tongue.
So, and that's out of the 6.
That's all of them. The other ones had died from hypothermia.
Right.
Oh, well, that's so because there's 6 died from hypothermia, and then you just labeled 5 more.
5, so it was 9. The 9 hikers.
Yeah.
But that's 11.
2, 4, 5. Something like
Or
that.
that's 10.
Well, some of them.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing that was in the report. They said they died from hypothermia, but they had these major.
Okay, so sorry, let me get it right. So
yeah, no,
there's,
you're straight.
there's 2 that had fractured skulls,
Yes,
and then another 2 that had like broken what?
major chest breakage,
And then 1 more that.
was missing their tongue.
Okay, so that's 5.
Right.
And then there's another 6. So that's
Let me pull it
total
up. I
10.
got it right,
Right.
here.
Well,
so,
it
so
also
6 of
makes-
them. Oh, go ahead.
It also makes sense because like they may have died from hypothermia, but they were found with like skull fractures.
Oh,
and-
right.
So one.
Yeah.
So some of the 6 could have had these.
Right.
Okay, sorry. I'm like,
So
Yeah,
out of
no,
the
no,
9
you're
yeah,
good.
okay. So I thought 6 had died from hypothermia, and then another 5 had completely different, but it could be mixed.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
and
it's
so
mixed.
they all
But it
died
is
in
9
separate areas too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 of them had died from hypothermia. 3 of them had died from their injuries exclusively, and those guys died separately.
Okay.
So 2 of them were found under a cedar tree near the remains of a fire.
Oh, okay.
And so let me go and pull this up here. Yeah, the 2 under the tree had things like burned hands. I mean, that could just be from the fire. And the 4 in the ravine weren't found until May 4th, 3 months after the incident. So
Whoa.
it's like just crazy. And so it also looked like some of the people that had died, the people who were still alive would take their clothes and try to stay warmer. Which is just kind of depressing, honestly.
It's depressing. That's almost
Yeah.
that reminds me of like the Dahmer party, you know?
Oh yeah.
Dude, that is like such a horrible. I couldn't even imagine being in that situation where you're like, okay, well, so and so just died.
Right.
I have to eat them to survive.
It's like the one time you don't want to nibble.
What a
on
terrible
somebody's beef.
choice.
Shut the
Damn. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of Donner Party. Super sad.
Yes,
Very little beef nibbling.
we should definitely cover that sometime. That'd be fun to
That
cover.
would be
That would
cool.
be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and what is it here? Yeah, a lot of them were found like in various stages of undressing. So they were just taking off their clothes, and it's called paradoxal undressing, which happens to like a quarter of all hypothermia victims.
Right, because they
And-
hit to a point where they start feeling so hot
Yeah.
or something, and so they have to start undressing.
And it's just so hot, you just have to take off your clothes
Right,
to get
right.
cooler. And let's see here.
It's so weird. It's like a mental thing too. And I feel like, I don't know, because it's so freaking like mental, and psychology is so weird. Like what your body can sometimes like think is going on versus like what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Is so weird because we can totally like mentally trick ourselves into things that aren't even like going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mhm.
But
Like, have you heard that that your eyes, like your peripherals, your brain will just automatically fill
Yeah.
like images and stuff, just because like it thinks it's there, so it makes it there.
right.
And that's why sometimes, like, if you're lying in bed or something and you look at a pile of clothes
Yeah.
and you think it's a person, it's because your brain can't like tell what it is, so it just feels something, and then that's what freaks you out. You're like, oh shoot,
Right.
that was
Right.
a person, and then you find out it's
so
not.
weird.
It's just odd that your brain can do that. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's like, sorry again.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
We're kind of tangenting.
That's
Right.
fine.
It's like, do you remember? Did you guys ever watch? What was that movie called? Unbreakable.
I haven't seen it.
And
I've
then,
heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
And then it came out with like that other movie that was with
Oh, like Split?
Split. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen Split?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you, I don't know, man, and maybe I'm just reaching here, but the guy that has like the multiple personality,
Yeah.
like I feel like that could actually happen in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if somebody got to a point where some personality in them truly believed that there was some sort of like beast, the human body is capable of a lot more than we think. Like there's those, like for instance, you hear about those moms that their kid gets stuck behind or underneath a car,
And they
and the
like,
mom lifts
lift
up
that.
the car. Yeah,
It's so crazy.
it's insane. But your body can do that, mind you.
Yeah.
A lot of their body is like destroyed after that. But if somebody
Right.
got to a point where they truly believe that, I just think I don't know, stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's like the effect of a placebo almost.
Yeah,
How some people will
exactly.
like get better after an illness. or
Exactly.
XYZ, whatever.
Mhm.
yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It just goes to show how much the human brain can be tricked into
I think I can. I
perceiving
think I
other
can.
things.
It's basically, yeah,
Yeah, dude.
the little engine that could.
Right.
Anyways, as you were, bro.
Yeah. So all these people have been separated, so they weren't all found in like one area, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
And so the weird thing is, whenever 4 of these bodies were found and examined in a ravine, I think it was around like a mile away.
And these were the bodies that I'm assuming were hypothermic.
So listen to this. So one of the investigators compared the force to require to injure a human to so severely that of a car crash. So it's like someone being hit by a car, and that person had like a
What?
fractured rib, which is like, dude, what? Who's
So
getting hit
weird.
that hard?
And that was one of the bodies that were in
yeah,
there?
that was one of them.
Wow.
And they were absolute and not caused by force exerted by another human being. So it wasn't a human being that could do that. It wasn't like someone got attacked,
Huh.
which is also strange.
And did they have like cuts, bruises, and stuff all around them?
So let me see here. No soft tissue damage was observed, although the skin's
What?
bodies were crushed by pressure. And so that's like
so weird.
What
being
the?
held down. That's pretty crazy.
Like a punch could do that, right? Like just being hit. That wouldn't cause like soft tissue. That would be like
No.
deeper stuff, right?
Just like getting hit.
Like if I were to like punch somebody in like the gut, would that be soft tissue or would that be a little bit like deeper?
I think that would just be like soft tissue. I don't know if that would be.
So like
That deep.
what would it take to really go past like soft tissue damage to where it is this deeper type of damage that's going on?
You saying like something that could do it or someone?
just in general, what is something, not necessarily like a being or a thing, but like, so like a car accident would be an example, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So I guess to that point as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but it is said that ex-UFC fighter Francis Ngannou, his punch is compared to getting hit by a Ford Focus at 70 miles an hour.
Jeez.
Dude, maybe that was him out there in the 50s.
Yeah, dude. But that's the thing. Like, I mean, maybe back then in the day, like they didn't really think that could be even possible, but I mean,
Right.
clearly it's possible. Like,
And
But
they
it-
just
I-
recently opened up the case and then closed it again in
Really?
2019.
oh, really?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they kind of looked at it again. 'cause-
Okay, so this all happened in the 50s.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it was brought back to light in 2019.
Yeah, so they
Right.
reopened the case.
And then they closed it pretty quick.
Yeah, so they closed it within a year. So I
Okay.
think we'll be able to pull up what their findings were if anything else had changed. But
Right.
this is the story for right now.
Okay.
And when Dubina, that's her name, was
Mhm.
found to be missing her tongue,
What?
which is kind of weird. And it was
Right.
also her eyes, but
Yeah.
science has proven that after being exposed to moisture for a long time,
Mhm.
your eyes would just sink in and they would just disintegrate almost
Oh, really?
after you die. Yeah.
Oh, like being in water and
Yeah.
stuff? Okay.
So that was a little creepier, but stick
Missing her
with the
tongue,
facts.
though?
Yeah.
How do you lose your tongue?
Yeah, like what? That's not, man, dude. I'm like, oh. So, yeah, let's continue to talk about the story, and then I kind of want to
Yeah.
indulge some of these thoughts I'm having here.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And let me pull it up here.
Yeah, no worries. Don't stress about it. It's just, it always gets me with the tongue. Like,
Yeah,
how,
that's filthy, dude. I like
Right.
what? Why is the
Pretty
tongue
disgusting.
missing?
how do you lose your tongue? Like, oh my God. This whole story, like, once we get more into it, it'll seem more, it gets more confusing as it is. You have less answers than you do, like, questions for sure. And I don't think they satisfactorily, like, answered all of those.
That's
I mean,
so annoying. I hate it because it's the same issue that I had with
Right.
the Becks. Is that I feel like I didn't. I had so many questions, but
Right.
nothing was answered. Oh man, I'm not gonna have a good time now. Frick.
no, it's gonna be good. We're gonna cook up some really good theories for this one.
All right,
Believe
let's
me.
go. Let's
Yeah,
hear
and
the rest.
the
Maybe we
last 2
won't get to
points.
'em.
Yeah, the last 2 points I got for you are just no one else was in the area, not even the native people.
Right.
And the last thing they found on some of these bodies were a surprising level of radiation,
What?
Yeah.
which is also strange. So that's kind of the past, and like what really happened is really never been discovered. So
Radiation?
yeah.
that's
They had
strange.
abnormal levels of radiation on them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's
Yeah. See, I'm just starting to think of so many other things now.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like, what could cause radiation?
I don't know.
Freaking aliens, bro.
See, that was actually something they talked about. Some
Yeah.
people go out there and they're like, what if it was aliens?
UFO.
Yeah, dude. Let me put my tinfoil hat on. Like, that's.
Like
I
for
feel
real.
like that definitely could be like a very feasible
Something-
answer.
Something that was interesting though. I was recently talking to someone else,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, okay, radiation doesn't make like aliens and radiation doesn't make sense because why would these advanced beings who are light years ahead of us because they're able to do all of this like interdimensional travel, go across like the universe, why would they still deal with radiation? Like radiation is such a basic thing. I mean, we were dealing with radiation back way in the 1500s and even before that because there was like radium and they were using that for like glow in the dark clocks and whatnot.
Right.
Like, why would these advanced beings still have so much radiation and why would they leave that behind, especially if they know how like toxic the effects are?
Well, I guess you could turn that on its head as well and say,
Yeah.
well, these people are so advanced, much more advanced than we are.
Yeah.
Maybe they've been able to figure out a way to harness the radiation to use it as like a power source.
Fair
Along
enough.
with that, it just doesn't affect them because
Right.
they're so far ahead.
Right. They
Yeah.
could have found a way to like, okay, we can utilize radiation in our
Yeah.
engines and our propellers, whatever it is that they use to transport. And then they were able to figure out how to make it so it didn't affect them.
Here's just like a thought to the side. If they're trying to study us, do you think they're trying to be like sly about it, sneaky about it, or do you think they're being deliberate about it? Because if you're trying to be sneaky about it, you've studied us enough to know that we can like track these things. Why would you leave evidence like that?
Well, I think they probably just don't care. Honestly, I don't
Yeah.
think they're trying to be sneaky. If they were trying to like study us,
Right.
I guess in my opinion,
Couldn't that contaminate their like study though? If we knew they're there.
Maybe it's not necessarily a study. Maybe it's more like a zoo. I think it's called a zoo theory,
Okay.
where
Yeah.
aliens view us as people in a zoo.
We're like
Mhm.
pets.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go here on a Tuesday.
such a good boy.
right? Like, yeah, no, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about. At this point, we're
Yeah.
not like the apex animal, right?
Right.
And so, because to animals in the zoo, I guess with some exceptions, they see us as like, oh, they're caretakers, you know.
Yeah.
Mind you, we
right.
don't know that there's any. I guess we don't have any solidified information or facts that there are aliens
Right.
out there, but maybe like Lucas is saying, like it could be just like we are a zoo to them. You know, they're just coming down here to see what we do, see how we
Yeah.
react to. They just injected a bunch of radiation to those people to see what happened. Well, and then I guess if you have a bunch, sorry, I kind of just went off to a different.
No,
but
that's okay.
if you have a bunch of radiation poisoning, doesn't your skin boil?
Yeah. So
Like,
it wasn't
falls
like
off.
an amount to be like fatal. It
Hmm.
was a surprising amount whenever they were found.
Hmm.
So it's not like a normal level, but at the same time, it's not going to like
But like,
make
why?
your skin fall off.
Right, but they were just probably like, why did you have radiation? Like,
Exactly.
what the
It
hell? That's
doesn't
so
make any
weird.
sense.
Wasn't like the mountain they were found on like called like Death Mountain or
It
something
was something
like
like
that?
that.
Yeah.
I think so.
Very cool.
It was way weird. Like when I first heard the name, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, first of all, if you're going to some place that's like close to Death Mountain or like Dead Man's Pass,
Mhm.
like, what are you thinking?
Usually stay
Right.
away.
That's
Yeah,
I feel like that's a
normally.
cautionary thing. Like when
Yeah,
we
there's a
name
reason
things
why it's named that.
like dangerous things, I feel like that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And there's some things that I don't know that are different, like Dead Horse Point. Have you ever been to Dead Horse Point?
No, I haven't.
It's like a spot in southern Utah. But yeah, you go there and it's pretty like it's the fucking desert.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, and it's like, yeah, I could see why it's called this. If you didn't have a road going directly towards there, like you can see easily why you would probably never want to go there or be in that
Right.
area.
Right.
And so I don't necessarily understand like why people will go to these places that have these ominous names like the Devil's Pass or Dead Horse Point or Death Mountain,
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
It's
Mhm.
not like a solid idea. Some people think it's like a Yeti for doing those extreme, like traumatic crushings.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I could
Which
see
makes
that.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a big creature like that, I could definitely see like a. Because see, you look at Francis Ngannou, and he is like larger than life, dude. That guy
Yeah.
is a freaking giant. And so getting punched by something like that, I guess. I mean,
Maybe he's the runt.
yeah, maybe he's the
runt
runt.
of
And
the
they're like, no,
litter.
we don't accept you. And he's like, I'll be a god to these people. The other thought that I had, and I guess I don't know. I guess there could be other things that could disprove this, but the other guy that apparently had a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody consider questioning him?
Do you think he's like a serial killer?
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to my head because he
so-
was the only person that knew they were going there.
Yeah, and I believe he was the first person to call to
Yeah.
say, hey, these guys have been on this trip. They should have come back by now.
That'd be crazy.
But what better way to hide?
Right. And that's
Pull
the
a
thing, though.
Zodiac?
I
Right.
believe he had an
Exactly.
alibi or he was at home or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Of course, the investigation was pretty quick.
Yeah,
It wasn't like super in depth. And I think that's probably why the Russian government reopened it.
just to
years
like
ago.
double check things.
Right.
Mm. Yeah, I'd be interested to find out because that seems like I don't know, like the first thing that came to my mind when you guys were like, oh, they all went up, this one guy
Yeah.
left, and then all these people died. You know, what if you go up there, this guy dips, you don't end up seeing him for a couple days, and then you're sleeping in the tent,
Yeah.
and then he just shows up. He's inside the tent, and you're like, what the hell are you doing here? I thought you were going home.
Well, check this out. This is what they found. So the footsteps away from the tent are not indicative of anybody who's in a hurry to do anything. They're very slow, very calm, very leisurely. And so I feel like they wouldn't match that if you have this guy who's literally trying to kill you. Like you're in a hurry, you slash the opening, like the side of your tent to get out. Why are you walking so slow and calmly?
Oh, you're saying that the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense at all. And I find that all of the pieces of this case have me sitting here scratching my head.
Right.
And there's a lot that I don't know. Why are you cutting the inside of your tent, trying to escape, and then calmly walking away.
Right.
What is your logic there? What's going on there?
Unless
know-
like
What's that?
they were like possessed or something.
That's actually a great idea.
That could be it.
Because what if one of them,
You have Death Mountain.
yeah, you're on Death Mountain. There's some creature up there. For instance, this is like just to do with our last episode, but like La Llorona or something.
Yeah.
Some cryptid or something up there that was able to possess this one individual. They possess him,
Right.
and then this individual gets up because this creature probably has no idea that there's a zipper or something. They just say,
Yeah.
"Okay, cut your way out of this. Come to me. I'm going to give you instructions on how to kill this person."
Almost like a Pied Piper.
Like, what do you mean?
Haven't you heard the story of like the Pied Piper where he plays his flute? And
Yeah.
all the little kids?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like a siren, you could say.
Or a siren. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like a siren or something that's calling this person to go over. So that would kind of explain like why it was ripped open and then and just like nonchalant walking away.
Something else that I just kind of like thought of, like this happened in Russia, and one of the Russian like I don't know if I'd count her as like a cryptid or anything like that, but one of the Russian kind of lore is the Baba Yaga. Do we know if she has any like powers like that? Let me check on that actually,
Yeah,
because that's an interesting thing. Like, does the Baba Yaga have any power to like hypnotize or anything like that? Because that could probably help. And I feel like that could also play into the missing tongue, because she is kind of like a cannibal. She does eat people, which I think is interesting. And so I'll definitely, I definitely want to look that up real quick and let
Or
you
maybe
know.
like-
but like,
Like
Yeah,
the
so
missing tongue. Sorry. go
Another
ahead.
thing, no, you're totally good. I just want to go over what the Russian government said it was. So that they thought it was an avalanche,
Okay.
which
An
is
avalanche
not-
hit these guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then all these things would have happened, but it wouldn't like necessarily explain like why people were walking away so calmly, why you could see those footprints, why
Right.
you'd be able to even see most of this evidence, especially if like a heavy avalanche came down and just messed these people
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, you definitely run, or they would have just gotten caught in the
Would've
same
just
spot
died,
and died.
right.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't
another
make
thing
s-
too is
yeah.
like military tests. Some people were saying that the military was doing a lot of testing in that area. But
Oh, and that could be why the radiation's there.
yeah, that could be it. But at the same time, it's just like that really doesn't line up with anything else.
So, and this was in the 50s?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I guess I don't know if you want to play into that theory. You could also say like a lot of governments back in the day were trying to do experiments on humans to make it like a super soldier.
Right.
So what if, I don't know, there are like experiments going on up there, and then they make this super soldier, it gets loose, and it goes on this rampage because there's a bunch of people out there and just starts killing everybody.
Definitely. And the USSR was pretty unhinged after World War II. They did a lot of weird things,
Yeah,
a lot
exactly.
of strange experiments, stuff
Exactly.
like
And
that.
I think everybody was too, because
Right.
we're just at the height of like, okay, well, all this innovation has just happened. We're in the 50s,
Yeah.
and the US as well did it. There were human trials. Freaking, I could totally see the Russian government also having human trials like that to try to create something that's larger than life. That would be like, I think, and we talked about this in our last episode, but everybody wants to be top dog, right? And so
Right.
governments, officials will go to no end, in my opinion, to try to make that happen. Everybody wants to be apex. Everybody wants to have everybody else fear them. And so to create a superhuman would put an end to that like, I guess, argument, if you will.
Yeah, the struggle
Yeah.
between who's number one. And like another thing too is obviously we know that there's things out there that are not necessarily human
Mm-hmm.
and that are like not really documented. I mean, like,
Right.
look at the show Stranger Things, and it was based off of a real experiment
Right.
in like I believe it was the 70s or 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And they had seen things come out of a portal that were something from, I believe he said, like the lowest depths of hell.
See, dude, that's so terrifying. That kind of stuff just freaks me out.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like, I wouldn't put it past anybody to do something like that,
Right.
because it's just, I don't know, just human nature to take things a little too far always.
Like, how could you? Like, the CIA tried to do mind control.
Right.
Like,
Right, exactly.
nothing is far fetched anymore.
Right, exactly. And then the other thing I was thinking, what if, for for instance, like the missing tongue.
Yeah.
What if this creature, let's just say it was a creature that possessed this woman, the creature made that woman like bite her tongue off or cut off her tongue so she couldn't like scream or yell. I guess she could still yell, but she couldn't speak and say,
Yeah.
I'm possessed or anything like that, you know?
That's just absolutely horrifying to think about.
It's terrifying. But then on the other side of that too is like, if this person were possessed, what other kind of powers could they have had, right? They could have been, this person could be like possessed to a point where they have like insurmountable amount of strength, right? To punch somebody or to hit somebody to make them fracture ribs, break legs, whatever, crack their skull in. Like there's so many.
Just like manipulated.
Yeah.
Something that I just barely found interesting. Because I was looking up more about the Baba Yaga.
Okay.
And something that she can do is she can manipulate kind of like the surroundings and how you perceive different things.
Okay.
And so it's very possible, in my opinion, if we are going on with the Baba Yaga theory here,
Right.
that she was the culprit behind this, is she's able to induce kind of these hallucinations to where you're thinking like what's going on. It's like a false reality almost. And so cutting out the tent, they could be seeing this entirely different thing and then calmly walking their way towards to whatever she wants them to go to. And who's to say like she didn't have them like walk down this ravine where those who got these like injuries to their head and their skull ended up just like falling down. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I like my meat tender. And so if I was going to eat, because she does eat people, I would definitely want to try and tender my meat up, and it's even easier if my meat tenders
drop them
themselves.
off a ravine.
And so then they can like sustain a lot of those injuries, but going against that too, there's not a lot of soft tissue damage like we talked about. There's not a lot of those cuts or scrapes or anything like that. Right. But the fact that she can make these false realities happen in front of you, like for all you know, you're stuck in her false reality right now.
Right. We wouldn't even know.
Yeah. Exactly. And during that whole time, like she can make you do whatever she wants because she can kind of influence you with these different things. And that to me makes sense of why they were calmly walking away from the tent, why they may have like cut the inside out. And I guess like with the cannibalism, just taking away the tongue. Something else that's interesting with a lot of serial killers is they will kind of mutilate their victims' faces. This isn't with the Baba Yaga, but going back to the other guy from earlier, because they don't want there to be witnesses. Even though the person's dead, sometimes they'll cut out the eyes because the eyes, like they saw them.
Right.
And again, like the tongue, taking the tongue so you can't speak about what you saw.
Right.
And so in theory, let's say it was that guy from earlier, and out of all of them, he was very successful except for that last one where she saw him. He cut out her tongue because he didn't want the dead to speak in a way. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I agree with you. The other thing too is that serial killers are also known to take trophies.
Right.
And so maybe that was his like trophy, take a tongue of the kill or something like
and
that.
You wouldn't have to necessarily kill everybody.
Right.
I mean, you're already in that harsh environment. It looks like his name was Yuri. And he left the expedition on January 28th due to illness.
Yuri going
Air
to
quotes.
regret this.
Air quotes.
Illness.
Around illness.
Right.
So I'm guessing he was probably in his 20s at this point. So that was in the 50s. So 73 years later, he's probably dead.
He bit the dust at 2013.
Especially in freaking Russia.
And another thing too is they closed the park for the area for 3 years after that. Yeah, so it's completely shut down. Which isn't super strange to be like sensitive, but at the same time,
3 years.
Well, if there's a super soldier on the loose, close it down for 3 years to find him.
Dude, that guy's too quick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Mind you, though, if they didn't find him for 4 months after that dude was long gone by then. Right. If it was that.
Right.
Hopefully.
But dude, I'm like more. I don't know if I.
Where do you feel like
I'm subscribing to that guy being the freaking killer? To be honest,
you think so?
Yeah, because the thing is, like, what if all these people
Right.
saw him coming, right? And they set up their tent and they're like, dude, he's been following us for like a day or
Yeah.
something like that. You know, let's just picture this image. You're hiking, this guy left, and then everybody starts noticing him.
Right.
Like they see him, seldom see him, you know?
Right.
And then you're like, okay, let's do this. Let's put up our tent and then we're all gonna go hide.
Yeah.
They leave all their crap there because they're like, this guy's been following us. We don't want, like, what is going on? You know, you could have all these creeping suspicions about this dude because I don't know, how long were they friends? Do we know? You know,
I
what if
don't
they were
think-
only friends for a couple months?
Yeah.
And then these guys are all had kind of their suspicions about this individual, Yuri. And then they go up to do this trip. They start seeing Yuri and they set up this like elaborate trap to say, okay, we're going to leave the tent there. And if he goes in, then that means bad news for us.
Right.
Our suspicions have become legit. This guy's a freak. And so everybody leaves the tent there. Yuri doesn't notice him, and he's ready to kill somebody, right?
Right.
And so the delusion is there, right? The hunger is blinding, right?
Yeah.
And so you go into the tent and you're like, nobody's here. I'm going to go find them. So you nonchalant because you're already in this mode of like, I'm going to kill somebody
Right.
or whatever, you know? I don't know how a serial killer's mind works in this moment, you know, but I
Yeah.
would assume that they're so engulfed in this pursuit
Right.
because they've committed this much that they need to get it done. And so he just, without thinking, cuts a door into an opening into the tent.
But it
walks
was
out to go
cut from
find
the
him.
inside instead of like the outside. Because you said
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He walks into the
okay.
tent, he looks, nobody's in there, and he's like, he just kind of like blind, you know, like I
Right.
said, he's just almost like a robot and just cuts into the tent, goes out, nonchalant walks out to try to find these guys.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, like I said, just with that, like that rage in your head or like the human body is insane. So at this point, he's so convinced that he needs to kill these people that he is to a degree
Right.
unstoppable, essentially.
What if we took it a step further? Because we know a couple of the people in this group were working on or had worked in the past on a top secret Russian experiment.
We did.
So-
I did not know that.
I know. They did. They worked for the Russian government. And so let's say we'll put an asterisk next to this because I can't confirm nor
Right.
deny. But let's say Yuri worked for the KGB and his
Okay.
mission was to assassinate the people in here who did work on this experiment. Like, I feel like that could add some more like credence, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we are going to assign Yuri as like the killer, I feel like that could also put in as a motive. So maybe because I feel like in order to kill somebody like that, maybe you do get your rocks off to that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like maybe you are kind of like a serial killer and you do
Right.
kind of dig that, but like, it could be used to the Russian government's advantage. If you're a serial killer and somebody gives you a license to kill, I feel like you might want to take that.
And
Mhm.
I was looking everywhere, and I couldn't find anywhere where Yuri was talked to afterwards. It said he had a heart condition, but afterwards he was like never spoken to my understand what I found.
See, that seems like
What's
like
a
the
heart-
investigation was just
It's
fumbled
just,
on.
why wouldn't you?
Just bungled.
And
Yeah.
like I was saying earlier, it's like it's just kind of messy.
Right.
Like
Why
it wasn't really.
why
well
wouldn't
done.
the detectives go and speak to this guy and say, what more information do you have on us?
Right.
Okay,
on
these
this?
people are up here. We get that, but
Mhm.
what's
What
going
happened?
on? Yeah.
Why did you leave? How did they seem before you left? Like,
Why-
was there anything weird going on?
Right.
yeah. Why are
What
they
was the
6
plan?
miles away
Right.
from where
well,
they're supposed
exactly.
to be?
Exactly. Like, ask the questions that need to be asked and then rule out a suspect. You know, it sounds like they never even made an attempt to rule him out as a suspect, let
Right.
alone even make him a suspect.
It's like they came out with the conclusion already. Oh, it was an accident.
Oh, he left.
Right.
He
Yeah,
was fine.
He left. He's fine. It was an accident. They all
Poor
died.
guy said he had a sprained ankle.
Right. How did they prove that? If it was months after that they found him, like, did they go and see if he actually had a sprained ankle? Blah blah blah. This and that. Like, it just seems like the investigation was kind of a shit show back then.
Right.
So yes, I just want
I
to
mean,
clarify real
but
quick.
Soviet Russia was a shit show.
He was just he was sick and he had a heart like problem. So that's
Okay.
why he didn't want to continue.
Right.
I misspoke and said it's
Oh,
like
okay.
sprained ankle.
Okay.
So I just want to put that into your guys'
How
pot of
valid.
ideas here.
Okay.
how valid is like his heart problem? Because like I could say I have a heart problem. I got
Did die
dumb.
at 75, so
He
could've
did
been
well
that
kind of
bad.
for a hot minute.
So well then what if I don't know, what if he was just like, these people don't have a heart condition, I do, I hate them, I'm gonna kill them all.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just out of spite for having a
Yeah,
heart
yeah,
condition.
like-
You guys got a good heart. Not anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah, not anymore.
KGB all
and
the
you don't have a
way.
tongue, dog.
I'm gonna take two things.
A trophy. Maybe he needed the tongue to prove to the KGB that he got the job done.
Oh.
Hold on now.
And then
Here we
you said
go.
that their eyes were gone too.
So one or two of them had their eyes missing. It was the same lady with the tongue, though.
So he probably wouldn't have needed to take.
So scientifically, after a long time, that could have happened.
Right, but it could also have happened.
It could have also
in the
been
moment.
someone just freaking took them out.
So,
Right.
and what do you think happened first? Do you think this lady was like killed first and then tongue cut out, or tongue cut out first? She was running, fell into the ravine.
Let me recollect here, and I believe this is what happened.
Okay.
So it was later at night, and they had cut the inside of the tent out. They all had went out.
Mm-hmm.
They went down to the forest about a mile down from the mountain to where they were.
Hmm.
So all of them had jumped out, got out, but they all calmly walked down.
Hmm.
And then they had start splitting up to either gather supplies, do whatever, try to survive, right?
Right.
And so the 4 died by a ravine. There was 2 under a cedar tree. Those are the ones that were found undressed.
Hmm.
And I believe the other ones were kind of scattered about.
Okay.
That's kind of a timeline, a vague one, but
So then I guess, what if on another end, let's say KGB is trying to kill him.
Right.
They're all in their tent, and then they send some people out to go murder these guys,
Yeah.
and they lock the zipper or something. You know, because there's 2 zippers. You could easily zip tie the 2 ends
Right.
together, and they're like sitting there like, what? Like, why can't we open this? So
Right.
then they go over, cut inside of the tent, and like look out, start walking out. All of
Right.
them walk out to start looking around and be like, what the hell? Who locked our tent?
yeah.
Exactly.
And another theory is, so they had like a stove in there, right? So they didn't
Okay.
see it to be like used,
Mm-hmm.
but something could have happened with that. It could have been like, there's a ton of smoke in here. Let's cut this out. We don't have time to get to the door. That's like an idea some
Mhm.
people have as well.
Okay.
And then maybe something more sinister took place after that.
Oh yeah. I could definitely see
You never
that.
know.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, that is such a.
Maybe the girl was the intended target the entire time, and then the others were just kind of in the way.
I could Google her.
I
See if she
wonder,
did
yeah,
anything.
like I wonder if that was the case, like because it seems like this girl was the one that got the short end of the stick out of everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
your
so-
tongue is gone.
What if she was just like the main goal, but they had to kill everybody else? So like,
No witnesses.
well, almost to like not shed light on her, you know,
Yeah.
because if it was just her that killed,
Like
that
a
got
smoke
murdered-
screen.
exactly, like
Yeah.
a decoy, almost exactly. Like, what if she was the only one that really meant anything to this whole operation, whatever it might be?
Right.
And they had to kill the other guys so they didn't raise any red flags. Because at the end of the day, the investigation was just, oh, it was an accident.
Right.
But if you have 9 people up there, 1 girl dead, they're gonna be like, what the hell happened?
Right.
Her tongue's missing, her eyes are gouged out, blah blah blah. If they were gouged out,
Oh no, it was the liquid.
It was the water.
there's the water. But at that point, like I feel like an investigation would have been ran more officially, you know, because then you're like, you have 9 suspects or
Right.
8 suspects. You say, okay, what the hell happened up here? Why is this girl dead?
Right.
But then you have 9 people that just died. 1 guy happened to walk away. Like, it doesn't really raise that many red flags, especially if they're like, oh, it was just an avalanche, or oh, it was just like a weird disaster, something weird happened, you know, like, that's interesting. I definitely could see that being like a smoke screen, though. That
Oh,
seems a
yeah.
little more like tangible than.
And another thing too is the investigation was done pretty poorly, and so they didn't release any info on things like their internal organs. They didn't do like any like deep scans like that. All they would see is like the broken bones. I'm gonna find out what this lady.
Fair enough. You know, I know this happened back in like the 50s, and just while you're looking that up, but has anybody considered the fact that it might be Dick Cheney? He's got-
we have this running trend here, Lucas,
Yeah.
about Dick Cheney. He has to be mentioned every episode.
It's because
Checked
he's
off
the
that box.
worst. He's literally the worst.
Maybe he went and shot their face and then didn't apologize.
Just like he did to that attorney. Oh my gosh. It was an accident.
Oh,
Yeah.
I cut your tongue out. I'm not apologizing.
It was an accident. Because that's what he said too about the attorney who
What
he
a
like
clown.
shot. Oh, it was a hunting accident. Yeah, right. You don't mistakenly shoot your buddy. I mean, come on. Would you miss? Oh my gosh. I don't think you got to be sure before you pull the trigger. Like that's like hunting 101. And you know, knowing Dick, he was and believe me, I know Dick. But
Dude.
knowing Dick, like I feel like he would have been more calculating about that. And so
Couldn't be him.
no. Well, he could have done it even though it was back in the 50s. But no, I'm just kidding. It wasn't Dick Cheney. That's all allegedly.
Hope not.
Yeah, allegedly. This is all alleged.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not apparent that it's already alleged from the running theme of Dick Cheney and everything, then I'll just state like it's allegedly. I have no evidence that Dick Cheney is a cryptid, even though he could be.
Or the penguin.
Or the penguin, even though he looks like the penguin. I'm not kidding. I sat there with my grandma recently and I pulled up like a picture of the penguin. And I was like, this is Dick Cheney. This is the penguin.
Spot the difference.
And then I swapped the pictures and I was like, which one's the penguin?
It's like that. It's like the Office meme where Pam has like the two pictures.
Oh, yeah.
They're the same picture.
Literally.
Oh, I was gonna mention something. Oh, dang it.
That's okay. If you remember it, then shoot it out there. But all I'm saying is I don't want to rule Dick Cheney out as a suspect. 'Cause
Yeah.
that guy is, he's sus, you know. I could see it. He's crooked. He's done a lot of suspicious things like, 9/11 was an opportunity. I'm not saying he did 9/11.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
Don't get there. But he took that as an opportunity to start the war in Iraq, and we did a lot of suspicious things there. And we said Bush said there was a lot of weapons of mass destructions, but where were they? We didn't find the weapons of mass destructions.
Couldn't find him.
And so all I'm saying is, Dick, he made up some stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time he was kind of talking out of his ass, like every other politician there is. And so I don't trust him. And it's not out of the question that he could have killed Yuri's friends, allegedly.
So, just to kind of change the gear here, the girl with the tongue missing was the youngest, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, I looked at her background. It looks like she's just a good student.
Now I'm thinking of a bunch of other stuff. I have two comments here. I really would be curious to see what the general public around there,
Yeah.
anybody that was around that time, what they thought about the situation, or even now. I'd
Right.
love to hear a person that lives in the area that is I'm sure that this story's been passed down. I mean, it was
Right.
70 years ago. I'd be very interested to find out what people thought about it.
Right.
Just because I feel like that would give a lot of insight on more details that I feel like are definitely missing.
Oh, yeah.
Especially from that investigation that was run as a clown show.
Right. Allegedly. I'm going to say that
allegedly,
because if
right.
anything
Allegedly,
involving
yeah.
the KGB, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't
want
want to
no
talk
smoke.
bad about.
Next thing you know, it's just going to be KJB. And then we're going
Get
to
down on the ground. And the next thing I
KGB.
know,
This is the
I've killed
KGB.
myself in the cell.
You
did-
Brennan? Yeah, that's me.
you did the Epstein.
I pulled an Epstein
Yeah.
on myself. Shit.
So I guess now the other thing that I'm thinking of
Yeah.
is, man, and I hate to go satanic on you guys, but
Eh,
what
it's
if it was some offering? Because you said she was the youngest.
Death
Yeah.
Mountain. Was she a
Death
virgin?
Mountain.
I don't
Yeah,
I
see,
don't
that's
think
the
we
thing
can
too. What
find
if
that
it
on
had
the
that
internet.
Right,
information
right.
on there.
But let's just kind of toy with the idea. What if she was a virgin? It would. I mean, why is her tongue missing? That just seems like such a weird thing to me
Right.
that it would almost play into the idea of it being some sort of sacrifice. Okay, these Russian students, they all are I want to have eternal life, whatever, blah, blah, blah. so be whatever you want to imagine.
Right.
Right. And so they go out to the woods. And they make sure to invite this one individual, and they start doing this kind of ritual or whatever. And then by doing so, they invite just like something obviously very unholy, just terrible, right?
Right.
And then it kills the rest of them.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know. Like,
well, you know, the Zodiac Killer had this whole thing, like each person that he killed would serve him in the afterlife.
Right. Yes.
And so I could totally see this being like a cult suicide, like you're talking about,
Right.
where they sacrifice her and then, you know, maybe they wanted to bring like Beelzebub or somebody else into the world and give him power. And, you know, let's, I'm going to throw on a huge tinfoil hat. Like, let's make it a freaking Cardinals hat, like huge as all hell.
Let's hear it.
Like the Pope hat, bro.
I'm in for it, bro. One of those really tall ones?
Yeah, really tall, really huge, because I'm going to need this. So let's say they were successful.
Okay.
They did this sacrifice and they performed this ritual and it released this intense, powerful beast into the mountains of Russia. As the Russian government, let's shut it down. We'll shut down the state park. We don't need anybody to know about this. We're shutting it down. We're going to take care of this. How do you take care of it? It's a good question. You either kill it or you work with it.
And that's why it took them 3 years.
Yeah.
Which
do you
odds
think
are
they
they
did?
probably are working with it, I would assume. Because you try, well, I guess, I don't know, maybe it took them that long to kill it.
Who knows?
Mind you, though, something like that doesn't seem like it could be killed, you know?
Another
Right.
thing too is the government over there has changed quite a bit ever since that. Like the USSR fell in the 90s,
Right.
so it could be anywhere right now.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Oh man, that is so interesting to think about. This is the kind of story that I hate, honestly. Like, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, but I like there to be like an ending.
Right.
You know, I hate that they're
70 years and nothing.
70
insane.
years and we have no other information on other than we opened
Okay,
up the
these guys
case again in 2019 and we still have found the same evidence. They died. Like,
What are you going to find? Like,
Yeah.
what else is there? Because all you have is the case notes. You know,
right?
if there wasn't such high tensions right now between the U.S. and Russia, I think it would be very interesting to take a trip there, hike to the same spot that they
Nope.
were at, and
Mm-mm.
investigate the
Nope.
area.
I'd rather not.
Yeah, I would not do that. You can go by yourself because I would not enjoy.
You know what?
I'd
Like,
FaceTime
yeah.
you.
I'll take it. I would go because, okay,
That's crazy.
let's hit a side note here for a second. Just recently this weekend, I've been trying to have a skinwalker experience.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
Lord in heaven, don't tell me that.
And
Dude,
so
this guy, last time
I've been camping. I've been camping in Schofield.
Oh my gosh, Brennan.
And I've been like
camping?
Oh my
trying
gosh.
to like encourage a skinwalker
Why?
to come at me, bro.
You've seen the videos though, of those terrible things.
I haven't.
Dude, this guy tells me.
I
when
do
we-
know a story though, and I've kind of somewhat had something happen, but it wasn't like a thing. Not this weekend, but like, have you ever been in Diamond? Yeah, you've been to the Hot Pots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the Hot Pots, I went there at night. It was before I took you, and I took this other girl, Melanie. And the whole goal was to go skinny dipping in the hot springs.
Very nice.
But some weird stuff
When
happened
was
on
that?
the way up. This was back in 2020.
Oh, this is before
Okay.
we went.
Yeah, this was.
Oh,
It was like the one time before we went, but
Oh yeah.
there was some weird, suspicious things that happened, and I did some research after that, and it's been known to have like some skinwalkers up there, but
Dude.
it wasn't a skinwalker. It wasn't anything, in my opinion.
Just a dog.
It was just kind of
The
well.
snake.
If I were to tell you the story, it'd make sense. I'll have to when we do our skinwalker episode,
Mhm.
I'll mention it and I'll
Okay.
go over the story, but I won't specifically say it was a skinwalker because I personally don't necessarily believe it was a skinwalker. But
Okay.
Not be
I am
saying
the
its name like
ultimate-
this over
Yeah,
and
dude.
over again.
That's
bro,
what
I
I'm
live
saying.
in West Valley City. The scariest thing are the gang members who are going to shoot me up one day.
Oh my gosh. Dude, this guy, what I was going to mention earlier is he's doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But then 2 episodes ago, we did an episode on another cryptid.
Yeah.
I referred to it as the wig.
The Wendigo.
Yeah. But
Dude, I was listening to that shit all the way up to freaking Bear Lake,
Dude.
going through the canyon. I like downloaded
he's
freaking
like,
amazing story.
dude, I was editing this video or this podcast and I was scaring myself. Like I couldn't fall asleep. I was just sitting there in my room and I'm like,
God.
Dude.
I was in the kitchen eating fucking toast, terrified.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, and then he's going out trying to like get himself in a horrible situation. Freaking crazy, bro.
I just want to
Gotta
believe,
chill out.
bro. I just
You
want
already
to
do believe.
Yeah, you are a believer.
You're a believer
You don't need
already.
to-
You don't need proof.
You don't need to see it.
You don't need to die.
Shh.
We're gonna find out about you on a mountain sometime, dude.
Yeah,
Nah,
and then,
dude, you're just gonna find about me in a jail cell like Jeffrey
oh
Epstein.
my gosh.
Like, I can already see it now. That's how I'm gonna go out. I'm completely innocent. Not to say Epstein was innocent, because he knew a lot of bad stuff that he wasn't supposed to know, and he did a lot of bad stuff he wasn't supposed to do.
What? What are
But-
you talking about?
I've messed with the FBI, the FBI.
Yeah, maybe.
I've messed with the FBI and Dick Cheney enough to where, like, it's not out of the question. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, like, if he ever heard about this, I'm a dead man. You know, as they say in
They'll find.
in that one video, Joseph, I'm a dead man.
What video?
Have you ever seen the church video where it says that at the end, where
No.
like Hiram gets like shot, and he yells, "Joseph, I'm a dead man."
No, I don't know.
Well,
Like Mormon?
it's like like the
Oh,
Mormon
okay. I
video,
was
bro.
like, wait a minute.
Okay, yo, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, we're in Utah, and
was a
so
little lost.
whenever you refer to the church, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Mhm.
also known as the LDS Church or the Mormons.
Yes.
Just to put some clarity out there. But no, that's like a quote that I'll never forget in my life. It's like, Joseph, I'm a dead man. But-
Yeah, I don't remember that like at all.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't think I saw that.
but
one either.
mind you though, I
It was
didn't really.
like trauma though.
I hated watching those videos so much.
Oh, so you just
hated
kind
it.
of like
Yeah.
black those
Yeah.
out from
They
your
had
memory.
one of those on the Donner Party.
Do they
Do
really?
you remember that at all?
Oh, are you talking about Ephraim's Rescue?
It could have been
Or is
because
it-
there was this old grandpa like eating
Yeah.
a bone,
Oh,
like nibbling on it, dude.
What
Have you
the
ever
heck?
seen that? The
No.
sister
guy.
missionary showed it to me and my family.
not nibbling on
What?
beef,
Yeah,
just
and they were like,
nibbling on
"Okay,
a
we are
bone.
so sorry."
Oh my gosh.
10, something else.
Just apologize. Oh, if all the times I've
They're
had
like,
to
we have never seen that
apologize.
before.
Shoot.
That was actually the first time we've ever showed anybody
That's
that.
exactly what they said.
Are you for
Oh.
real?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my,
My
gosh.
gosh.
Wow, how stupid. Oh my gosh.
You know, that's a total YOLO moment. It's like, yeah, you know what? We found this movie in our apartment, and you know, it's in our apartment and we're missionaries. It must be appropriate to show our investigators, because that's what you guys are. You're investigators. You're investigating the true church.
Of course.
We're investigating the story. Not really though,
Basically.
because I feel like I haven't made any
Any progress?
concrete evidence or anything. Like, yeah. Like I don't know.
We're all just left with these theories. With the case, it's interesting. It really is interesting, and it messes with me. And so, I feel like a lot of the theories we've come up with are fairly plausible with what you have. Especially if we're going on to the spooky side. If we
Yeah.
were not to be spooky, well, then who's to say they just didn't get some sort of delirium out there, and they just got confused and they left their tent and
Middle of the night is cold.
Yeah, they
accidentally
started kind of just getting hazy.
fell
and-
down a
Yeah.
review.
Dude, maybe they were token like crazy. You know, like what if they were just
Hotboxing
Some dirty
tent.
heads playing
yeah,
up there.
Oh
dude,
my
what if they were
gosh.
just gonzo, you know, and then they're like, "Oh shit, I got to get out of this tent, bro."
Dude, I cannot open the zip.
Dude, I
Oh,
just
zippers are
can't figure
too
out where the zipper's
complicated.
at, dude.
Dude, let me grab my knife.
Okay, let me just get my knife. I got to take a piss. Do you guys want to go?
Let's
There's a
calmly
huge
walk.
ravine over there. I think I can shoot in there.
You four, come to the ravine.
Yeah. The other two are like, dude, I saw a tree over there.
I'm gonna make.
I'm gonna go take a
fire.
dump.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, something. You
Yeah.
know, like what if we're just overthinking this to the max, and the
Just wanna get
investigation was just like they
Bunch of
did it
college
perfectly.
stoners.
They
Yeah,
just
they were
did
just like,
perfectly.
okay, yeah, these guys just died. You know, it was
was
all
just
an
an
accident.
accident.
Yeah,
They
They
didn't
just
release
got
the internal
confused.
organ stuff though, so maybe they were just token.
maybe they were. I
For
don't know.
real. I mean, did they do like toxicology screens back there? Like back
It doesn't
then?
sound like they did.
Yeah, no, they didn't do anything like that.
No, I don't. I'm sure we had the technology to do it for sure, but
Right.
I'm sure
But
it seems
they-
like
Found radiation.
oh shit, I
You know,
forgot
like-
about the
like-
Oh my
radiation.
gosh.
See, and that makes me feel like it was more pointed to aliens.
Right.
Just that radiation part. But the thing is that there's like so many like
A radiation gun. That's what the KGB used.
maybe that's what they were testing on them.
I don't know. Maybe I could see that. Oh,
I
a
don't know.
test.
And like, you have certain type of humans that will. Oh, yeah, my bad. You have like certain type of humans that will do like really messed up things to
Right.
just because it's like an intrusive thought or whatever. Maybe these
Right.
aliens like had
They're
those
just like, let's
intrusive
go
thoughts and then just said, "Hey, let's ruin these people."
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
They take him up into the spaceship or saucer, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and then they get radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
They cut out the tongue because they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm
Yeah.
gonna try it." Oh, that was disgusting. I don't want it anymore. Bleh.
Basically.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
and
something
it's like-
crazy like that.
It's
You know,
just going back to what we were talking about earlier. It just blows my. How scary is it that we could just be somebody's playthings? Like you're not anything special. You're just a plaything. You're
Yeah.
my dog. And you know what? Some people are terrible people, and I don't I 100% do not agree with this. But there's some people who get dogs and then they just like fuck the shit out of them.
yeah,
Like literally like wreck these dogs, and they'll like beat their dogs. They'll kick these dogs.
Yeah.
And it's because they can.
yeah.
It's like an outlet for them to do it. And so who's to say we're not like
That outlet.
exactly? And
For
isn't
like
that
the aliens just to come? Yeah, dude. I don't know because how many unexplained like people that have gone missing are there?
There's
Right?
too
There's
many.
a ton.
Hundreds of thousands. Like people go missing all the time. Yes, mind you, we find them sometimes, and it ends up being some sort of messed up murder or something.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what about the ones we can't explain?
And how much of them are a cover up? Because you know when you do get, not to really detract from what this whole thing is about lost people.
Mm-hmm.
And mysterious disappearances or situations where they were lost but then found. There's been a few cover-ups where if you were to get crime scene photos of a lot of these disappearances or these people who have been found in the woods dead and they've been labeled as like a bear attack, but it was a little too clean
Mm-hmm.
cut or maybe a little bit more savage than what a bear would do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's to say how many of these things haven't been covered up? Because we've talked about, not on the podcast, but in general, in private conversations, we've talked about cattle mutilation before
Yeah.
and how it's interesting because you'll find these cows, their entrails are taken out, they're gone.
Mhm.
There's pieces missing.
There's no
And-
blood.
There's no blood in a lot of the cases. And where is it all at?
Right.
Where did it go? What's going on there? And it
Mhm.
gets labeled as most of the time like an accident or unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
An accident. How do you accidentally get dismembered as a cow?
Right.
Like, what are you
Dude,
doing?
Go in the wrong part of the field. I mean, like, what?
Dude, he
Found too many crypts, bloods.
He
like,
walked
what?
over that like serrated grate. You know, those grates that they put on the
Yeah,
ground.
Yeah.
so that-
He should have known better.
yeah, dude. He walked on it, and the farmer's like, "Your time's up, dog.
Game over.
Sorry.
Looks like you're all out of lives.
Rip Bertha.
Bye bye internal organs."
Oh my god.
Well, shoot, dude. Thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah. No. Thank you for having me. It was a really fun time.
No,
Had a
for
lot of fun.
sure. Feel free whenever you want. If you ever want to come back, we'd love to have you.
You guys are great.
I want to hear more. I also
banter.
like, yeah, yeah. I want to hear from. I don't know if anybody wants to reach out to us and tell us if they've heard this story or not. But I would love to hear what others have theorized because I mean it's just the three of us, right?
Right.
We all can think up as many things as we want, but maybe somebody else has more of a robust idea.
Maybe someone's related.
Yeah, you know, like that would be sweet if we could hear from somebody that has any intel or any sort of backstory on the situation. Like, I would really be ecstatic because
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just, like I said, I'd be very interested to find out, like, from a local, you know,
Right.
because the locals are obviously going to know a lot more than anybody else can tell us, right? So,
I mean, the internet can only do so much, and especially with the 50s, there's a lot of people who actually lived in that time and kind of went through it that know more. That's not on like Wikipedia
Right.
or
Right.
They
the
still
internet
have
in
access to
general.
those things.
right.
Exactly,
'Cause,
and
like I think we talked about it last time. It's a lot of these stories are like passed down orally, right? And
Right.
so you only know it if it's like within the family.
Right.
right,
Yeah.
and so we don't know, and it would be a real opportunity to kind of get more insight, and maybe we can get further on and further answers if somebody who did know and has more information on them, if they could shoot us an email at shadow.valleypod@thedogenetwork.com. Again, that's shadow.valleypod@thedogenetwork.com.
Ooh, sorry, continue.
If they could just shoot us an email with more information, that would be fantastic.
Get us on the phone with your grandparents, please.
I'm not going to give out
Let
our
us
phone
reach
number
out.
over like in this episode, but please like get in contact with us, and we'd love to set up like maybe a Zoom call and get more information on this. That would be fantastic.
That would be dope.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think another plug, if you will, but we did start a Instagram. If you guys wanted to give it a follow, we'll be posting like updates if we can't do an episode or something like that. We'll make sure to post on our Instagram. We're probably gonna get some other social media here soon, but we're on Instagram now. We're Shadow Valley Pod, not podcast, just Shadow Valley Pod. Send us a follow. Send us a DM. I don't know. We'd love to hear from the viewers, but yeah, keep up with us on Shadow Valley Pod on Instagram. If we have any changes or anything weird schedules or anything like that come up, we'll make sure to put them out. But
For sure.
yeah,
Thanks a ton, guys, for having me on again.
Hey, no
awesome.
worries.
Thank you.
Would you like to plug any of your socials on there?
Yeah,
send
go
it
and
up,
follow
send
me,
it
Luke
up.
the Savior, on all platforms.
Say
Also
that
got
one
a
more
new-
time. Say that one more time.
Luke the Savior, LUKE_THE_SAVIOR. Just released a new song, so go and check it out.
Oh yeah, and you definitely you have a show coming up too, don't you?
Yeah, I got one coming up next week, Saturday, on the 19th of August, 2023.
There it is.
Pull up.
Alright.
It's at the Rise in Provo, Utah.
Awesome. And for sure, anybody who's out there, listen to Luke's music. It's really, really good stuff.
Thank you.
No, I'm being serious, bro.
It
For
is
real.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely give it a listen. Follow him on Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you do.
Spotify.
And
Oh,
bro,
100%.
don't do
Dude,
me dirty.
I'm not
with
down with
Spotify.
Apple Music, bro.
Dude,
Spotify
I love
all the
Apple
way.
Music.
It's just way easier. I don't know. Everybody's different.
No,
You're all inclined to your shitty ass opinion.
I'm entitled to Spotify.
We'll nibble on that beef later. Anyways, any final thoughts, anybody?
No, I'm
Crazy
all
story.
good to go.
Great
Yeah.
guys to talk about.
Basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody,
Thanks again,
I
guys.
hope you have a great rest of your day. And yeah, we'll catch you next week.
See you later.
See ya.
Peace.